Okay, thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for all the times that you've come, and this committee has done so many wonderful things over the years, where new voting machines and new animal control and keeping track of records and keeping track of wind farms and solar farms, and we've just done a lot of things, and the assessment for the community is another thing that started in this committee. So thank you for all of you who've been here and participated over the years. I'd like to start with a roll call.
Ms. Weber?
Present.
Ms. Parker? Present. Ms. Polk?
Present.
Mr. Snipes?
Present.
Ms. Peters? Present. Mr. Tholen? Mr. Carrico? Present. Mr. Kirkstra?
Present.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Present.
Ms. Hudson? Present. Mr. Smith?
Present.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand?
Present.
Mr. Raymond?
Present.
Mr. Wheeler? Present. Mr. Seroy? We have a quorum.
I don't have anyone who wishes to give public comment, but we do have a request to change the agenda so that the recorder can go first. So who would move that we can change that? Mr. Eckhoff and Ms.
Oak.
I saw the Parker Eckhoff first. So first Mr. Eckhoff, second Ms. Parker, and all in favor say aye. Any opposed say no.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. As Ms. Gadbois is coming forward, I want to show her photo in the newspaper, because what she's going to do today is what she did in this photo. So this is the Herscher Senior Safety Fair that was held, and she's right in the middle of the photo, but that's what she's going to, Pembroke, I think you said today. Yep. Have you been to TriStar Estates in yesterday? So, yes. And you have 4 or 5 more to go.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so if you have your screen up, move on down to the recorder's report. And what would you tell us there?
Continue to say things are good.
Number 3.
Continue to say things are good and moving in Kankakee County. It's not a bad day, at least not in the recorder's office. Any questions on the report? Nope. Great. Okay, so the other exciting thing I'm here to tell you about this morning is the beginning of the month, we started accepting credit cards.
Yes.
And it's going very well, very smooth. I can speak for everyone in my office. I think we were all a little scared, timid, but the process has really folded well into our daily work. And since October 1, we've taken in $475 in revenue from credit cards. So not too bad.
Okay, so before we do the minutes, let's approve this report. Are you willing to approve her report? Mr. Hildebrand, you second it? All in favor of approving her report, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. The motion's carried on that. Do you have other things to add?
Unfortunately, nothing concrete yet. All the books are back.
Oh, that's another question.
Waiting on the shelving. So that fits the book. So I'll let you know. How's that sound?
Well, it's your invitation we're waiting
right.
for. Right. So,
right.
And if it's November, fine. If it's December, fine.
Right.
We'll be there.
You're always welcome to come into the recorder's office. So anytime. You don't need an invitation. So please stop in whenever you feel like it.
Has there been any major fraud in your area that lately?
Nothing. I mean, kind of. I hate to say the usual. Yeah, we get a phone call once or twice a week regarding situations. We talk about the process and move forward from there. We have resolved 2 situations recently, so I was glad that happened and didn't have to go further up the food chain.
On alert is what.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay.
Great.
Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Next, the minutes were sent to you by electronic. So, Mr. Raymond, would you move to approve those minutes? Okay. And we'll skip there and go to Mr. Smith. Will you second it? All in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carried. Now we turn to the county clerk's report. He's the busy man. He has a report. So
allegedly.
We'll go forward to Ms. Peters. Will you move to accept his report? Mr. Carrico, second. All in favor of accepting his report, say aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carried. What you got?
Good morning, everybody. Just wanted to give you an update on where we are as far as voting goes compared to 4 years ago. As of this morning, in 2018, the same time period, we'd had 1,091 people that had come into our office to early vote. As of the start of this morning, we were at 876. So we're down about 20% for people coming into our office to vote. However, mail ballots are certainly significantly higher. We had received at that same time period 973 mail ballots. And at this point right now, we are at 1,700 mail ballots that have been received. So nearly double. So we are roughly about 20, adding everything together, we're about 20-25% above where we were 4 years ago.
Together.
Yes. So.
You account that to postcards, possibly? Those postcards?
Oh, I'm sure that the mailing of the ballots that we received, we sent out 2,900 applications to be on the permanent vote by mail list, and we received 1,300 ballots so far. So that would explain almost all of it.
Almost all of it. Anything else that you'd like to ask about, Mr. Eckhoff? Let me get to 9. Yep, 9.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that's fantastic with the amount of early voting and mail-in ballots. What's the percentage of the election or turnout do you expect to cycle?
You know, historically, the even year non-presidential election will get 50-55% turnout. I don't see anything at this point that tells me that it's going to be less than that. The numbers being down down in person wise might give me a little bit cause for concern on that, but I would say that we'll be right about where our average is. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Kirkstra.
Yes, Dan, for those who did request a mail-in ballot and had not mailed it in, if they brought that into the on election day to vote, can they can still vote, can't they?
Well, if they didn't, you're talking about the postcard application?
Yes.
If they did nothing with the postcard application, then we've done nothing with them.
Right.
So it was just an invitation basically out to all of the registered voters in the county if you want to participate in that. Right. Certainly, if they want to go to their polling place on election day, there's nothing that prohibits them from doing so. Right. If we mailed them a ballot, however,
yes,
that's where it gets a little bit dicey. They have to surrender that ballot in order to vote.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
At the polling place.
Yes, that's the information. That's the information I was looking for.
Okay.
If you did receive a mail-in ballot,
if we mailed you the ballot, then yes, you need to surrender that ballot.
Yes.
Or if you didn't bring it with you, provisional then.
Yeah, but we're not advocating for that.
Oh.
No.
There's a way to vote is what I'm
Absolutely.
saying.
No one will be turned away.
Right, but it is just a friendly reminder that if you did receive one or request one and you did not mail it in, when you come into your polling place, you must have it in your possession to present it.
Yes, and they cannot drop their completed mail ballot off at the polling place.
Correct.
It can either come back to our office or it can go through the mail. It's just got to be postmarked on election day.
Correct.
Or before.
All right.
There's so many ways to vote. That's the good news.
Yes.
So that's it.
Yes.
That's the great news.
Anything else? Good questions? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Hendrickson, I am really happy to tell you.
Is your microphone close?
Sorry. I'm really happy to tell you this. I was stopped last night by a young man who told me that he had taken the training to be an election judge and how excited that he was.
That's awesome.
And he is wondering if he'll get approved. He says, and it has to go in front of a judge. Do you think I'll get approved?
I've not seen a judge in the longest time disapprove of anybody that's applied to be an election judge.
Oh, sweetie, no. I have a great feeling that you will be fine.
Absolutely.
And he was telling me everything he was going to do and how excited he was. So I'm hoping he can generate more excitement among that age group.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
he was,
so yeah, if you do see that young man again, one, thank him. But also encourage him to let other people know, his friends know about the process.
I will do that. Okay. I will see him later.
Okay.
So, but you really made his day.
Yeah, and those notifications to the judges should be going out We had a couple issues in the office that we had to deal with that weren't related to election judges, but those notices should be going out today or tomorrow.
I won't tell him, I'll just say, just expect. I won't give him a date.
Absolutely, he'll be fine.
But he'll be, yeah. I just wanted to
Yep.
let you know that you have a possible election judge that is over the moon right now.
Awesome.
Thank you. Okay,
I don't have anything else if no one else has anything else for me.
thank you for
Have a great day.
It was a good season. Mr. Blair is next, and he has the assessor's report. You have that in your packet and on your screen. Mr. Kirkster, would you move that we accept that report?
Yes, I would.
Mr. Snipes, will you second it? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, any?
Aye.
No. Motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I have, let me see, I need to put on which microphone?
The guest.
The guest. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, so I just have a few things to go over with you this morning. We did complete the 30-day window to accept assessment appeals. That window closed on October 11th. At present moment, and we are still receiving some things in the mail, but at present moment we have 187 appeals, which is maybe down just a little bit, but I hesitate to comment too much on that because we could still get a little bit in the mail. And we did, I did ask for all of the appeals that were turned into the townships to be submitted to us last week, right after the deadline. So hopefully we have everything in from the townships. But 187 I'm feeling pretty good about. It's not like we had a tremendous year of tripling the number or anything like that. I did receive the Department of Revenue tentative equalization factor. That factor is 1. Anything times 1 is itself, so that's good news.
Mm-hmm.
Our 3-year average, which is supposed to be as close to 33 1/3 as possible, was 33.26. So the math was right on what I had predicted. I thought it was 33.27. I apologize, I was 1 point off. So the things that we're looking up toward is the Board of Review hearings that are going to be happening. Those are going to be starting on the 15th of November. Final abstract equalization if necessary. Typically we don't lose a full 1.5% or so of abstracted value, so it's not necessary, but I do need to be aware of it if we need to equalize at the Board of Review level. So I'll check that out. That usually happens right around Christmas time, so that's a good holiday gift for me. And then I look to deliver the final abstract reports and everything to the county clerk by the end of the year, as I have every year for the last several years. Mm-hmm. So with that, I'll entertain any questions that you might have on your mind this morning.
I think one thing you've said in the past is the hope is that instead of having your hearings, that they could be the ideas could be resolved before it gets to the hearing. But these are actual hearings that have been scheduled.
Well, we certainly do the tentative hearings, where the Board of Review will look at the evidence that was submitted by the appellant and the evidence submitted by the township. That's what they're doing right now. And then we give them a 30-day notice. We give the appellant a 30-day notice for a final hearing. Everybody gets a final hearing that's scheduled. Mm-hmm. If they're satisfied with their tentative decision, they don't need to show up to the hearing. Oh. If they are unsatisfied with their tentative decision, then that's when they would show up to the hearing to state their case in person in front of the Board of Review. So those will run typically until about the 20th of December or so. I haven't looked at the calendar to see what day it's going to be this year, if everything goes well, but I'll be doing that here shortly to try to determine when our last day of hearings will be. Usually that last day is a lot of the bigger dollar requested reductions, and we have interveners come on behalf of the school districts and things like that. So, you know, but that, like I said, usually happens about the 20th of December.
And people were encouraged to appeal if they wish to, but the assessors feel they have given a fair idea to it. There were many changes this year, I think.
Well, we had quite a few changes. We did mail out 31,000 assessment notices. You know, of course, the assessors felt like their numbers were in a reasonable range of value. And this is that would have been the time up to October 11th for the public to appeal those numbers if they felt like it was not a fair number. And you know, given the fact that we had a little bit of a lower turnout this year potentially, you know, that might be a sign that you know, with a 3-year average being what it is, and looking at the fact that assessments were judged based on the market of 2019, 20, and 21. You know, the market has obviously trended up in the last few years, and I think that assessments haven't probably caught up with the market quite yet. That's the way it kind of goes when the market is trending up. Now, when the market goes down, then obviously we have a harder time keeping up with the market going down, because we're looking at 3 years in arrears as well, and so it keeps the assessments up a little bit. But right now, I think we're probably behind the curve on the actual value at the moment.
Well, that's interesting.
If that makes sense.
It's clear. It's clear and accurate. You know, that's the way it is. Anything else to ask Mr. Blair? Let's talk about the books a minute. Are the books relative to assessment? No, the books are relative to something else. PCA. So while you're here, if you don't mind, there's some of you have gotten your agenda. Is it an agenda type book? What kind of book is it that's down? Okay, the binders for the PCA meeting are also needed for and full county board. So notice, if you see Janice in the back, she's holding up her book. So each of you need this book for upcoming meetings, and we want you to all to have them before those meetings. One is for the November full board meeting, but the other is for tomorrow's meeting for PCA. So you picked yours up earlier. I think, do you have one too, Mr. Hookhurst? Okay. They're up on by your mailbox, on the table by your mailbox. Okay, so if you haven't gotten that yet, it'd be a good day to get it, and then you know you'll have it. So,
is your name on it, or we just pick it up? Just pick one.
Oh, just pick one. Oh, that's good to know. Okay. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Blair?
I don't have anything further. No.
Do you have a question? Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Have a nice day, folks.
You too, please. Next, turn in your screen or your report to the animal control, and I think Ms. Hudson, you want to move that we accept that report? Mr. Alexander Hildebrand will second. All in favor of accepting that report, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Looking on your report form, what would you add?
No, just the tip obviously is going down significantly because of the purchase of the land and the property. So that is $67,000. So that will be used to put the contents in the building and stuff like that. Some things that we're looking for, trying to build that back up. So that's about it for the report. Not really a whole lot. We impounded 10 dogs yesterday into an already full facility. Or sorry, impounded 10 dogs Friday into an already full facility. So I think we have 28 adult dogs currently. So, which is very, very hard on the staff and the animals itself. So it's just
and the animals too.
Yeah, we have 10 adoptables, I want to say. At one point we had more adoptables than strays, which is not a good thing to have in a facility like ours, in the animal control setting. The animals that we have don't typically thrive in a shelter like this, so it's just been a struggle nationwide, but specifically here in Kankakee County to move animals out. So,
there's a note, one of your notes on euthanasia on the front page is that 12 wildlife were euthanized, and is that again raccoons, or is it?
Yes, raccoons.
and then unfortunately 11 dogs, but that again was owners.
Those were behavior, sick, injured, or something like that. Behavior, euthanasia. So unfortunate.
The figure of 92 handling, that is a lot to handle. Besides, now you're full again,
Correct.
So that makes you really have needs. You want to appeal for what your needs are for those animals. Food again.
Food, I can always use food, stuff to keep them busy, like Kongs, treats, peanut butter, things like that. They always kind of like those kind of things. Stuff that we can easily clean and get in and out for the cages with them.
Looking on the back side, are there any other questions on the back other than the good news is animals returned to owner is 10 of the reclaimed by owner 20 animals returned to owner in the field 10, so at least 30 animals went back.
We have been able to do that because the staff has an iPad currently, so they are able to, on an after-hours call, look up the microchip information, look up the house it came from, and return the animal that way. That way we don't have to bring it back into our facility, into an already full facility.
So that's what the field is.
Yes.
Is that it?
We don't typically do that, but in a situation like this, we have been able to do that. So over the weekend also, we were emergency situation only, meaning those villages with contracts had priority over animal calls, but the ones who didn't have contracts, we kind of were just depending on the situation. So we did have a couple of calls. Luckily, the animals were all returned home, but it was just very, very hard when we were struggling to keep one cage open. And sometimes I think for one day, a couple hours, we didn't have any open. And this is me putting in animals in, upper doubles, which is just back aisle, which is not, they're totally acceptable cages, but just not ideal. Not ideal for their situation too. Right.
And yet the revenue from villages was from the front page at the top, $5,375. So villages are paying their contracts.
Yep.
And that helps in hoping to get more. At the bottom of the first page, it shows that you have 2,022 vehicles in use. So that's good.
We do.
And they're all equipped now. And so
one of the trucks is not. It's the truck I've been driving because it was just sitting there for a while, so I started to drive the truck. But we are still looking to find a slide-in for that vehicle. But at last I talked to them, it was 18 months for build.
18 months for equipment.
So, and to fabricate it, it's going to be twice as much.
Okay, let's talk about our invitation. You want to talk about that?
Sure. So an invitation went out to everybody in this room along with a bunch of other people, basically inviting you to a quote-unquote open house for our new facility, just to look at the property and the current building that is next week at 10 a.m. And we'd love for you to join us, and you guys can see all the hard work you guys put into it, and we can give a big thanks to everything that you have done for us.
So is everyone clear where that is? Where the building is? Okay, that's good. That's good. And it'll be a delight to be there, won't
Absolutely.
it? Yeah. Anything else about that? Oh, anything else you'd like to add?
No, thank you.
So if you have food or toys or anything, help you out. And what do you think? How will those eventually move out? Are you hoping?
We're slow to adopt them out, but we have been able to do some adoptions. But a lot of people come in, they want a smaller dog. Unfortunately, we have 50 to 60 pound dogs.
Aries.
Yeah. So they all want a small fuzzy dog, which is cute in theory, but we have about 50 to 60 pound pit bulls they could be lap dogs. They're great dogs, but not ideal what everybody wants at the time. So they're great dogs. So
good luck on that.
Yeah. I have a 100 pound lap dog at my house, so I think he is.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, and so time is good, but we want to mention something really special that happened in the community on Sunday. And Dr. Polk is here, and we want to give her some credit because she had an interesting, wonderful event on Sunday afternoon at the Quality, and it was a fundraiser in recognition of Breast Cancer Month, raising money for the cure and treatment of breast cancer, as well as, tell me the number, Ms. Polk, of your young people that will benefit.
56.
56 young people from the Pembroke area, particularly, will travel to Chicago to see Lion King. So some of the income from that event will go to pay for the bus and their tickets to go to Lion King. Do you have a date on that?
Yes, they will be going December the 7th, Wednesday, and they will be from Kankakee and Pembroke. children.
And you said to me Sunday the bus has been donated, the time on the bus and the
Yes, the
facility.
bus has been taken care of by Youth Empowerment.
And then the other thing we want to recognize is thank you for your time, but also we want to thank
Yes.
in this very room, there was a model in the back of the room. Mr. Snipes was one of the models in the fashion show. Miss Foster was one of the models, and Miss Hudson was helped to get the models dressed and undressed, I guess.
And out on time.
And out on time, and did a very wonderful job. So thanks to everyone. It was a very profitable event and the people, the room was filled with people having a good time. So thank you for your community efforts and what you do for our community, Ms. Polk.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for all of the help that you helped me do.
Thank you. Glad
I
to.
appreciate you very much.
Okay, is there, Mr. Snipes?
I was about to say I echo that because every time I see Pat, I see Miss Weber. So I will say that they are two advocates in the community at all of these social events that goes to help students and just residents in Kankakee, the youth. But these individuals getting scholarships and from the Dr. Martin Luther King program to the Pink Ribbon, you all are to be commended. If there's such variation from what we call our community service, what you all do is certainly inclusive.
And thank you, and that's why I wanted to bring it up at this very meeting, the community service, because that is a very good community service event that happened there. Okay. Is there anything else anyone would like to add? Okay, then, Mr. Kirkstra.
Yes,
Would you
Madam
like-
Chair. I move that we adjourn.
Is there a second to that, Mr. Snipes? Okay, Ms. Hudson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.